The look on a weary Joe Biden's face says it all. A long flight back from Europe and a chance to digest critical election results that just 10 months into the job delivered him and the Democrats a resounding thumbs down. Overnight, the Republican Glenn Youngkin pulled off a victory not seen in Virginia for more than a decade, winning the governor's race in a state Joe Biden took with ease just a year ago.
All righty, Virginia, we won this thing!
During the campaign, the Democratic candidate Terry McAuliffe tried to recreate Biden's election victory, welcoming the president on stage and attempting to tie Youngkin to former President Trump. But it didn't stick, and on top of that, the Democrats' infighting over Biden's domestic agenda gave McAuliffe nothing to sell on the doorstep. But it was Youngkin's relentless focus on divisive culture issues, notably race and COVID mandates in Virginia's schools, that won the day.
People don't want tyranny. People don't want to be told what to do. This is a dumpster fire, and people want to change.
Parents like Tiffany identified with Youngkin's message that kids shouldn't be forced to wear masks and have vaccines, and that the so-called teaching of critical race theory in schools, a theory that racism still exists in American institutions, should have no place in the classroom.
The problem I have is that my son was being taught propaganda. My son was not being taught factual information, and he's too young to understand one way or the other.
And the problem for Biden is it's not just Republican parents who swallowed Youngkin's stoking of culture wars, but suburban swing voters too, who just a year ago went Democrat.
Democrats have kids in schools too, and they don't want them going through this stuff. They don't want their kids growing up and being told at 5 years old that it's okay to, be gay.
As Democrats gathered to watch the votes come in, they did so in the knowledge that the president's party has typically fared badly in Virginia's off-year elections. But with Trump still looming large, this one felt especially significant.
Biden won this state by 10 points just a year ago, but since then his approval ratings have tanked. And there's a sense that what happens here tonight will be a harbinger for the midterms next year and the Democrats' ability to cling to power.
When you lose the white, educated mothers, you're going to be in trouble.
Parents were manipulated with false narratives to think that the school boards were on the ballot or the school system was on the ballot, and they are not on the ballot.
Does that have you worried? The fact that he's
absolutely terrified. Absolutely terrified. Youngkin is Trump 2.0.
That Joe Biden and the radical left have brought our nation to the brink of ruin.
Youngkin was endorsed by Trump, but he was careful not to align himself with the former president, who still clearly remains a polarizing figure. One who will no doubt try and heavily influence next year's midterm elections, where, if Youngkin's success last night is anything to go by, the Democrats are in for a serious drubbing.
You know what's interesting here is that Glenn Youngkin won in spite of Donald Trump, not because of him. He welcomed Donald Trump's endorsement, yes, but he distanced himself from him, even told Donald Trump not to come to Virginia so as not to alienate the suburban housewives who were so disgusted by Donald Trump in 2020 that they voted for Biden instead. Well, last night they backed Youngkin. Youngkin also was clever in that he showed just enough leg to Trump's supporters that they too backed him last night. And in so doing, Glenn Youngkin has really provided a formula, if you like, for the Republicans to sweep the board in Democratic states in the crucial midterm elections next year, so that the Republicans take back not just the House, but also the Senate in 2022, regardless almost of what Donald Trump does.
Siobhan, thanks very much.